Hi, Bill here. 223 nationalities on the way towards the Passover, aka in the West, Easter, where we celebrate the resurrection, the death and the resurrection of the man Jesus, who's also called Christ. Well, today, of course, is Lazarus' this day in that Jesus turned up at Lazarus' house, going to stay there for the week on the run up to the crucifixion. An odd thing, isn't it? You know, going to stay at a guy's house who you just raised to life just maybe a couple of weeks back or a couple of months back. Now you're staying at his house on the way to your death, and calls a strange story, isn't it? You know, if we can use the word story as opposed to account, I don't mean it didn't happen when I use the word story. But, you know, have you ever been with a group of people and they've been telling you something? For instance, I've been to AA meetings and people have been telling you the story of what they used to be like and what they're like now and how they changed. You think, wow, you know, it's really something. I was with some other people who told me that they were in this condition and this happened and this changed. Just sitting there with these people telling their different stories, you know, about events and circumstances and situations they found themselves in life. You know, we all like to listen to people's stories, especially a little bit of excitement to it. You know, imagine sitting at a table. You've got on one side of the table, you've got a guy called Lazarus who was dead for 4 days. And on the other side of the table, you've got this guy called Jesus who actually raised him from the dead, telling his story. You think, yeah, whatever, you know. Well, it seems to me, you know, if you go to Israel today, you can visit the place of Lazarus and the tomb of Lazarus and actually see what it was, you know. And if you go to Cyprus, to Larnaca, you can see where he went on to become bishop, and they say they've got the tomb there and the body of Lazarus there as well. So this guy, this place definitely existed. Jerusalem definitely existed. History, there's more evidence for the person of Jesus than most anybody else written about in the world. And it reminds me of a story. One day I walked into a house to visit some people. I've come back 40 years ago now. And as I walked in, there was some blokes there and we're talking away. It was coming up for Christmas. And I happened to say to one of them, I says, "Oh, you keep Christmas then?" "Oh, yeah, I keep Christmas, yeah." I says, "And do you follow Jesus?" "Oh, no, I don't follow Jesus, no." I says, "So you have the holiday, but not have Jesus." And I suppose it's a little bit like Easter. I'll have the eggs, but you can keep Jesus, you know. I'll have the holiday off work or off school or whatever, but don't give me Jesus, because I don't want to know about Jesus, but I do want a holiday that celebrates his story and his event. This is Lazarus's house. Lazarus' day. He's sitting there. He's telling his story. "I was dead for 4 days, and this man called Jesus came by and called me out of the tomb." And I tell you, if you let Jesus come by, no matter how bad you are, he can call you into new life, new hopes, new focus, a new purpose. Because that's what Easter's about, isn't it? A new life, new beginning, new meaning, new purpose. Past is gone, a new can become. Don't just keep the eggs and eat the eggs. Look to Jesus, the author and the giver of life. Yeah? Then you could tell a story like Lazarus. You could tell a story like some of the AA meetings I was at. Tell a story like some of the drug addicts I used to talk to. Tell their stories. Or you could say, I used to be righteous and do the best I could, but still inside I wasn't happy with myself, because I knew there was areas in my life that wasn't what they should be. But then I met Jesus and he turned it all around. That's what Easter's all about. New life in Jesus. Beginnings, new hopes. Hey, I'm not saying you'll become the Bishop of Cyprus or anything like that. I'm just saying, you meet Jesus, hey, you could become the Bishop of anywhere, you know. Anyway, God bless you. Palm Sunday tomorrow.